So what I'm hearing here, Chris, is there's kind of two different worlds here. One, you have the standard, I've been out for 5 years, 10 years, whatever. I need to change my direction. I'm coming into NPower, learn some new skills, get help to find that job through your partnerships, your networking and real partnerships you have with these companies. Then you also have the swimming upstream portion, which I really love. And that's the SkillBridge aspect that is directly with NPower. You're not selling the idea of SkillBridge with other companies. You are the company that they are partnering with, right? Or working with to gain those skills. Now, my understanding is NPower's in about 9 different states or so, and also in Canada, if we have any vets up there. And is the SkillBridge portion in every state, or is it only in California? And then can you also expand on what SkillBridge really is from a macro kind of level, so people understand not just NPower, just SkillBridge in general, because what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? I mean, somebody might not be interested in tech, they might be interested in something else that could still be SkillBridged, right?
Yeah, no, this is a great question. So let me start with regular NPower. What I love about regular NPower and what I did for 4.5 years for NPower California in San Jose and Los Angeles, veterans and veteran spouses. In New Jersey, we had a Marine, his wife, and their kid, who was 19 years old, all went through the same program. And all of them went into tech jobs. So it's like a family affair, right? Like I love these, and every once in a while I get a husband and wife team that were in the class, and I'm like, hey, make sure you don't argue about your bits and bytes here that we're learning about. It's great. That's and those classes are half young adults, half veterans. And when you mix those two groups together, peanut butter and chocolate, veteran experience, and I tell all the veterans before they come to class, hey, young Samuel or young Janie from inner city Oakland or inner city San Jose, they didn't have the advantage of being in a boot camp, being overseas, seeing the world, understanding. You do. You train them and help them have the same discipline and study skills and everything else, and you bring them along. I say it's like running the endurance course as a fire team. If you don't finish as a fire team, it doesn't count. So I have 2 veterans, 2 young adults. I'm not allowed to call them a fire team because that's not, politically correct in the civilian world. I have to call them a peer pod or something, so people don't get anxiety about, fire team. So it's a peer pod, and they graduate together, and then they keep in touch with each other. And the friendships made by young adults from our inner cities and our veterans. And again, most of my students just happen to be from minority backgrounds. And I never really had to go out and recruit specifically for certain. It's just who comes to us, right? We train everybody, officer, enlisted. I'm agnostic to everything. Like, just come be in the program. I've even had a British Royal Marine take my program, made a waiver for him, and a couple of Afghan interpreters that I made waivers for to come in our program. So that's regular NPower. The SkillBridge program is nationwide. I've got students from Bahrain, South Korea, Hawaii. They are on weird hours. They dial in from Germany. I just have one student who PCSed from Germany last week while she's taking the class, flies over, stays in the class, and she's in Denver. And so the SkillBridge program, you can become a plumber, a mechanic. BMW has an amazing SkillBridge program to fix BMWs, but most of them bring you in and it's on-the-job training. If they like you after 4 or 5 months, they offer you a job. My SkillBridge program is a little bit different because I use that time to train. And then your EAS comes and you go to a full-time job. So I don't look for internships or apprenticeships or a test run. I go, I've got somebody here. And what's really cool about this too is 90% of my students have a secret or top secret clearance. That ups your pay. When I left the Marine Corps, 4 months later, my top secret SCI clearance expired. It would be hard for me to get it back. If you can get it extended by the company you're working for, that is money. And I've got kids with TS SCI polygraph. I had one who worked on the President's helicopter. He had a Yankee white clearance. That's really hard to get. And those people get scarfed up. There are companies out there that want you for your clearance. My eyes are here. The clearance is over here. Stop staring at my clearance. So, so there's this NPower, the larger SkillBridge program, then the NPower SkillBridge, we are training and placing into jobs. So we're unique. No other nonprofit is doing this. I charge no money. And I ask the people who hire our students to give us a donation, like Booz Allen Hamilton or BAE Systems or CACI, great companies, Raytheon, General Dynamics, who hire our people. We ask them to do some corporate sponsorship of us as well. And I like to give them my students to let them see how good they are. That's my value proposition, is those people who go to work. So hopefully that explains a little bit about what our program is. And there's nobody else doing this. We should be doing a lot more of it, because we have a cyber security deficit, an employment deficit in this country. And it's a national security issue because we're being attacked by state and non-state actors on cyber all the time. You read about it in the paper, and it's like on page 4. Well, they shut down all the hospital admin. What? That should be on page 1 if you ask me.
So when we think about transitions, this is obviously an amazing transition path for some. I'm not trying to bring up the negative, but not everybody makes it through these programs. And it maybe, just not all programs fit everybody. When you're selecting people for your program, what are some of the things that you look for? And what are some of the lessons from the experience that you have on why people don't make it through?
Yeah. So last year, we started this program. It was a pilot year. And now, and in that whole year, we trained 83 people. My first class was 12 individuals, 11 of 12 passed. And then the second was, I had 26 people in the class, and we had 25 to 26 passed. So we've had in the high 90 percentile pass, at least get Security Plus. We also offer Linux Plus and Splunk Level 1. And so the people that come in, we interview them on the front end. Number one, you got to be really interested in tech, and you've got to talk about why you want to do it. I don't care if you're a pastry chef. I've had those. Truck driver, had those. IT. I set up the local area network at Kabul Airport, but I never got a single certification civilian. I know how to do IT. I've been doing it for 10 years in the Army. We have all this, and we've got to put them into one class. The most important thing, I can teach you the tech, right? But the most important thing is this is not terminal leave, and this is not where you go to hide from your first sergeant. You're coming into a boot camp environment, and they put a retired colonel in front of it because this is hard. It's hard to learn cybersecurity in 10 weeks or the basics. So we give them some advanced prep work to do, and we've had really great results so far. And who helps us a lot is the TAP offices, and they are my secret to success. The TAP offices, once we meet with them, and it's go and have a cup of coffee with them and talk with them. I've been allowed into certain TAP classes to brief. And I'll be in there with like the Border Patrol or the Secret Service. And we're doing the Mutt and Jeff show in there. And I love that environment. And so we recruit very carefully. Not everybody who applies can get in. And again, you got to get your commanding officer's approval. We can help with that. But imagine you're a Lance Corporal and you got to go to your Lieutenant Colonel, Battalion Commander to get permission. That reminds me of Oliver Twist with a little bowl asking for more gruel. Sir, can I please have some more? Like, that's scary. That's scary for a Lance Corporal to go up to his battalion commander and ask. We help them get over that. And like, hey, I've been a battalion commander. I would love to help my Lance Corporals or Corporals get a good job when they leave. Don't be shy about that. Let me help you write the letter. Right? So That's what we do. And so, Chris, we have a very high success rate right now. But you're right. Some people go, hey, you know what? This tech's not for me. But I might want to go into tech sales. And the thing I used about Midas, I actually have a guy who's going to work at Midas. He's like, hey, this was great, but my cousin has a car repair shop, and I'm going to do car repairs because I like that. So, okay, but right now we're kicking around 86% employment, and that's going to go up because some of that 86% are still on active duty. They take the course, and they've got to go back to the command until they're EAS. So, so far it's been pretty good. This cohort that I have this year, I trained all of last year, 83 people. I'm going to graduate 70 next week at the Museum of the U.S. Army in Fort Belvoir and in Richmond, Virginia, about 35 each at each location. We're going to graduate them next week. And some of them are already employed. They've already got their jobs.